Hello.
Cerveza cristal. Cerveza cristal.
何？
Blah, 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 blah. What holes are we coming from? No, we are not discussing any of that shit. Thank you very much. None of it. Zero zilch. Everyone's back from advertisement, hopefully. Everyone is ready for a wonderful time. Hopefully so. Bang, bong, bam. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're all doing okay. Oh my god, instant kill is turned on for the thing. Welcome, welcome. So yeah. Hi there. Hey, Cap. I see you in the stream waiting room. I will bring you in shortly. Don't you worry. But, oh, whoops. Highest kill streak leader, 64. Nice try. But yeah, so, sorry I was a little bit late to getting the stream started. The reason for it is because I had, like, this interesting email that came in. I'm currently renting an apartment, and there's gonna be, like, what's-a-mahoozy? Like, brain. You can do this. Brain. Remember, what is it that they... Inspection. So there's going to be an inspection in 2 weeks, and I was a bit confused because it was like within 3 weeks. Because it was like within 3 months of the last time I had an inspection, and normally it's like every 6. But anywhoosies, turns out, got an email this morning explaining how the owner of the unit that I'm renting is thinking of selling it. And they would be interested in hearing whether or not I would like to be interested in buying it, which is going to be... I'm going to be real with you, that sounds really fucking awesome if I had the monies for it. I have no idea how much the apartment would cost and whether or not it's even within my, like, lending amount. So I had, like, a little chat with my sister about it. And it seems like I want to go for it. It sounds like a good idea for go for it. All I need to do, however, is I need to ask of like, hey, I'm interested. It's all dependent on price. What are you thinking of selling it for? What is this deadline to, like, agree or disagree on it? Because they're gonna do that thing, and I need to then go to a bank and figure out if there's anyone that's gonna be able to loan me that much money in order to do all the housing nonsense. Remember, when you go from renting to owning, you also become responsible for all maintenance and repairs. That is true. I become responsible for all maintenance and repairs, but what that means is that I'm also able to do other things. So I will be able to nail whatever the fuck I want on the walls. I can change all the taps if I want. I can change the shower head. I can mount things on walls and not have to ask permission. Like, that's the beauty of it. And what's more is, like, this is a unique... Actually, you know what? I'll bring Cap in at this point, because maybe Cap lives in Australia, and Cap would understand this second part, which may not be an obvious thing for a lot of Americans, but hang on a second. Let me bring him in. I'm going to move him into Zebra Streaming. I'm going to join Zebra Streaming. Hello. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you well.
Excellent.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well. I can hear you excellent. This is Cap, everyone. Cap is a tank in the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, and is an Aussie.
G'day, how you going, mate?
G'day. Alrighty then. So, Cap, so one of the benefits of when you're owning your property in Australia rather than renting is that if you do have the option of like, let's say you want to move or something or other. If you're moving from a property you own, and you owned it like however many years ago, because of how Australia is so, like, strongly tied to investment properties and properties being seen as investments rather than as, like, essentials, you're very, like, rather than renting where it's like, oh, I might lose $2,000-$3,000 on bond thing.
Snake.
Rather than dealing with, like, the bond nonsense, if you own the property, you can sell it to go elsewhere. And depending on how long you've lived in there, you might be selling it for more than what your mortgage would have cost to, pay back and all that.
Number one, how dare you? I'm a top. Number two, as someone who's lived in both rented housing and owned housing, it's definitely a lot better to own, that's for sure. But
yeah,
in the current economy, that shit ain't happening.
Nah, like, for a lot of us, owning something it's very expensive to do so, because for like the last like decade plus, any property that is owned has been increasing in value because it's all like it's tougher trying to get property. Fact is that's just the first part, and it's tougher if you own land to make property. So because of the demand still being as high as it is and the supply being as low as it is, the cost increases. And we don't have a really good system to avoid it. Oh, oh my goodness, Cap. You got a 1, 2, 3. Congratulations on the mini cack pot.
I know, it was huge. I tried not to make a sound, but I did come. I did come.
You just were like, oh my god. I've done it 2 or 3 times now. It's amazing. I love it. I love that we can get the 1, 2, 3 in the mini cack pot. I've not yet won a jumbo cack pot yet, though. That one that's not happened for me.
Pulled from a jumbo cack pot. I just forget.
I've gotten the last number maybe twice. I've never gotten more than that. And the annoying thing is that even if you do win the cack pot, that doesn't get you to buy everything within the mini whatsamahoozy stuff. You get like you can get a few things. Cookie for Bookie. Here's your cookie. Alrighty, let me cookie. Let me get Final Fantasy running, so then that way we can get into the funds. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about of like why I didn't start streaming earlier is because I had a conversation with my sister, and it all amounted to this sounds like something you might want to pursue. At the very least, you're gonna have to ask them what the price is, and then you like go to the banks to be like, hey, how much can I loan? So yeah.
Well, yeah, mate. It's me, Combank. I think you can loan $2 at 4 billion% interest.
That honestly is terrible. I like looking at initial bank stuff. They're like, oh, you can borrow out like 400,000, which is like, that's not money to throw away at. But I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of Australian property that just looks like pieces of shit is like $1 million like properties. Unfortunately, they're not too great.
We live in a fucking shithole.
Apparently. But yeah. Meanwhile, Bookie is getting ready for the Echo. Oh, the Echo is still going on. I have not bothered going to the Echo this year.
I'm gonna keep it $30 with you, my guy.
You're down in New South Wales. There is no reason for you to go to a county fair in another state.
I'm gonna keep it $42 with you, even.
42.
I fucking hate rich people.
Oh, don't worry. I think most furries in this chat do. Like, because we have the suspiciously wealthy furs, sure, but most furries understand, like, the detrimental issue of, hoarding wealth, and that's what happens when you have, like, millionaire and billionaires. Weirdly enough, however, despite the fact that, we villainize Mark Zuckerberg and such for truly legitimate purposes, let's not forget he has fucked over Hawaii time and time again, but he's not the biggest piece of, technocrat shit right now somehow. You know what he's been doing?
What?
He's just commissioned like a giant fucking sculpture for his wife. Like, he hired an artist to be like, hey, I need you to make a sculpture. It's for my wife for our anniversary. Like, he's not buying fucking Twitter or some bullshit. He's just like, hi, I like to hire the... He's like just doing Renaissance shit.
If I had 4 more billion bucks, that's probably what I'd do with it.
Hi there, Phantom. Welcome to the stream.
Statue of my wife, but it's her sonar, and it's life-sized.
Honestly,
and you can squeeze the titty.
I think that's too much. Like, you wanna, it needs to last. If you can squeeze them, it means that they can deflate and shit. You want them lasting. No, you just gotta be like,
you gotta have like super strong. You gotta have like Akira muscles, and you just gotta bend the fucking bronze by squeezing it.
Yep. Really? Okay. So yeah, I'm doing all right, Phantom. How are you doing on your side? I remember you noted you had some issues with your Discord account. Did you get it back at all, or are you still trying to deal with that nonsense? I can't assist you any further with getting your account back, unfortunately, because, well, I don't manage your account, so I have no fucking clue how to get into it on my own position. Ding dong. Oh my god. I need to clean up this retainer again. He's got too many items on him. Is there a way to, like... There's got to be a way to be able to store this shit, like all the housing stuff, in the housing place.
I wish. I truly do.
Yeah, like, that would be such a convenience. Because, like, what the fuck am I gonna do with, like, you know, aquariums or this giant beaver burger?
Well, you eat the beaver burger. Because, you know, we like eating beavers.
Hat stands and... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna grab some of these. I'm gonna grab the crystal bell. I'm gonna grab the summoning bell. I think I've already got the wyvern piece. I'm gonna get the bombs. I'm gonna get the lighting. And... Outdoor, 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 outdoor. Indoor oriental water... Okay, I'll grab you. Maybe you'll work. A chair. I can always do within a chair. Alright, let's see if these will go into my little room. Also, I forgot to have this guy, you know, do something. Alright, here we go. It was deleted, you're all good, was just informing you just in case. Huh. I'll double check our user membership list then to see if it is deleted or what have you, because, like, the entire time you were talking to me, your account was still there for me. So, yeah. Anywhoosies, moving into here. Are you part of the same, guild as me, or freaking?
I am.
Alright, so this is my mannequin. He's wearing all the Vigil gear from Stone Vigil, because I don't know why, I like that shit. Alrighty, so I've got... Where's the settings for this room? Always social? No. Party? No. Where? What is the option for dealing with your,
Damn.
housing? There we go.
I did not last 5 seconds against your Jimbo.
Alright, hang on. Place. Alrighty. So I'm gonna put the hats here. The crystal bell, I'm gonna have go here. This,
Gonna use your crystal bells.
Also, I need to rotate this, because... There we go. And then this one is also going to be rotated. There we go. And then...
Also, I like how your wall has a hot man and hot woman.
Hachafant!
Rest in peace.
Alright, and then the bombs. Oh my god, they will actually be floating. Holy shit, okay. That is so baller. I'm gonna put them over there. But yeah, so... And then you are gonna go... What the... Can I not have you... Oh, I have to put you on a fucking table. Let me in your room. How do I let you in my room?
I forgot.
And you're asking me to do it. Okay, cool.
I'm outside of your house.
Ding dong. Invite to party, just so then that way. I am currently in room...
No, I know where your room is.
Did you...
It's just, I don't have the permissions.
What do you mean
to
you
get
don't-
in?
Okay, hang on a second. Housing. Estate settings. Private chambers. Private chambers 13. GrantZeebs himbo cabin. Cab. ROM. GrantZeebs Himbo Rob. Guest access settings. Allow access for guests. Stakeholder rights. Yep, cool. Tag settings. It's just, under
I have
renovation.
entered your house.
I love how you just, like, fade in and you're like, I entered. Alright. Storeroom details. There's a storeroom? You will not be able to complete relocation if the total number of...
Nice.
Where's the storeroom? Because it says storeroom status. It's like, I've placed 42 out of 100. You will not be able to complete...
Oh, this is great. It's warming up my coochie real well.
Chocobo Stales and Aetherites not included in the limit. How do I get to the storeroom? Gotta go watch TV and eat. Talk to you later, guys. Not to worry, Phantom. Thank you for dropping in. But yeah,
Nara.
as you get, so just a place to watch your meat.
Yeah.
All right. I'll need to show it to.
Yeah, I'm just cooking my meat and my beef flops as well.
Right, okay, I'm gonna put you here, and then I'm gonna rotate you like so. That way you have the. Gonna rotate you like that, and then I'm gonna put. How big is this Oriental? Oh, okay, so it's a bit big. I'm gonna put you here. I wish there was, like, snapping. Ooh, place selected items into storeroom. Oh my god, I can put things in the store. That's how you do it. Fuck. Alrighty, so, this
Wait, there's a way to do it?
Yeah. Oh my god, there's grid snapping. Holy... Oh my god, I just moved it into the storeroom. Holy shit. Alright, so... And then... So, turn off... Counter placement to say... Alright, so counter placement enable... Oh, god damn you. So then... And then... Oh my god, it then does the thingy, and then if I do the rotate, is the rotate gonna snap?
Why do you have 2 beds?
I didn't know how to... Okay, hang on a sec. Let me get rid of one of them.
I got 2 beds.
I'm gonna get rid of this one. There we go.
I got 2.
I got rid of the hattish
beds.
bed, and I got rid of the hat stand. Gonna get rid of this. Oh my god. This changes things. I can get so much shit out and put it into my storage locker. But yeah, look at that. Look at this thing.
That's nice. It's very zen.
Yeah. Alright. Ding, dong, ding, dong, dong, ding, ding, dong. There we go. So that's about as close as I can get it to the back. So yeah, and then over here, as you can see, I have like all kinds of stuff. Some of it doesn't fit in the cabins, as you can see.
I can't tell if that's like glass refracting or if there's like a crystal in that fucking lantern.
I think it's glass. Oh no, it's not a crystal. It's a sprite. It's a fire thing, as you can see. Like I need a. Nope. So hang on, I'll need.
Why does that not show for me? It's just like a weird. Oh, it must be because it's behind glass that it's not rendering right.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. So. Yeah, I didn't have the thing. But yeah, question, do these things... Holy shit, these work. I really wish there was a bed in... Like, I have this cot here, but I can't sleep in this fucking cot. I can use the unending journey. I can use the armory. I need a glamour chest. I need a glamour chest in this thing.
Oh, that's the worst thing. You can't get a glamour chest in there.
What?
Only in Armoire.
But it's like a private thing! Like, why the fuck? I can have a mannequin in here, and the mannequin gives me, like... You rang, my lord? Look where he is right now.
I think it's like a fucking ram thing.
Like, select a pose. Currently I got runway, like... Alrighty. Alright, well I know what I'm doing now. I need to get this guy. He's in the... He's in the walls. He is in the walls.
He's in the goddamn walls.
Alright, I need to start getting Because no... Okay, so I can't... Probably not these things. But we'll try. I've got, like, so many different fucking chandeliers and things. Mini aetherite, grocery, indirect stands, balm cauldrons.
Damn, I need more tables.
And like that... Ooh, I've got another wool rug I could use. Alright, sword. And like that, I have way less inventory being taken up. Alright, so now if I go back into... Nope, not emotes. Housing. Remodel interior. So I have... So right now I have, like, the storm interior walls and highland flooring. I can go for highland interior. And I've got the ceiling, the storm ceiling fan and light. What's this one like?
I'll be right back.
The crystal one I think is okay. Confirm. Indoor furnishings. Store. Yes! I can store these things! That's the most I can store. I can't, like, move, like, the outdoor furnishing stuff from here, most likely. Leave the private chambers.
Apologies.
Not to worry, not to worry. What happens if I try to get to housing from here? Cookie for Bookie! Here's your cookie, Bookie, to help, you know, remove the taste of vape from your fishing. God damn you. Alright, what happened there? Why didn't it do the thing? Housing. Outdoor furnishing. Unable to... You are not authorized to edit furniture. Gosh darn it.
Dang smarn it.
Purchase construction permit? Estate hall, estate settings... Move to front gate. Cool. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Cookie for Star Kuma. Hey, that's a new name. I don't recognize Star Kuma. Hi. And then there's a mailbox here. No mail for me. Alrighty. I think that is that. I could change the augmented, but I want to wear this gear. Alrighty. Ow. And there's my pizza party there. Alright, I'm gonna move all that to the saddlebag. Vesper Bay is gonna go in there. Why you gotta throw a knife at me, Night Sky? It's been a while since I've been here, that's why. Ah, fair enough, Star Kuma. Ooh, Star Kuma, guess what? Your himbo, bimbo, thembo rating will now be dependent on your pronouns. So watch this, for example. I might type in bimbo, but if I, you know, because I'm GrantZeebs and I set my pronouns to he, him, I don't get a bimbo rating, I get a himbo rating. But obviously, you cannot properly quantify my himbo rating, so it errors out. Meanwhile, Cap, hang on a sec. Did you set your pronouns, Cap?
I was literally right now checking if I, like, how to do that.
I should probably have... No, you have not set your thingy-majiggies. So here's the brilliant thing. If I do bimbo, and then I do it on Night Sky. Because Night Sky hasn't set their... Oh, wait, no. Night Sky did set their things. Gosh darn it. Bookie. Or the bookster. How do you set your pronouns? Let me get the link. Bing, ding, ding. Ding, dong. You know what? I should probably make this like an automated like thing that goes off in StreamerBot where it's just sort of like, when someone asks, how do I set pronouns or something like that, it just does an auto-response of, alright, add. How to set pronouns. How do I set my pronouns? How do you set your pronouns? How do you set pronouns? Hey, nice. So you did himbo, but because you put your pronouns down as... I'm probably going to have to refresh my chat to see that you've put in a thingamadiggy. But because you set your pronouns down as she, her, it comes up with a bimbo rating instead.
It's very impressive.
Where do I set...
Also, I'm gonna BRB. My space is being invaded.
Not to worry. Pronouns, question mark. How do I set pronouns? Where do I set pronouns? Set pronouns. Alrighty, that should be enough. So yeah, so I'm gonna set those up, and then I'm gonna create an action, and it's gonna be part of chatbot, and it's gonna be in the chatbot queue. Ding dong. Favorite triggers. Command triggered. What the? How to set pronouns. Okay, and then we're gonna add in the Twitch. We're gonna send a message. Setting title, no, chat. Here we go. Send message
Apologies
to
about that. Didn't
Not
want to
to
have
worry.
any odd cameos from my family.
Ah. Hello, Caps family.
Oh no, they've left. I successfully shoot them out.
Mm-hmm. You can set your pronouns at...
It was like a...
pronouns...
It was like McGucket from, what do you call it?
I'm gonna give it a
Gravity
bit, then I'll
Falls.
check my thembo. It is tempting to, like, make it so that there's a possibility to make it so that you can force it. So if you have set your pronouns and what have you, I need to figure out if there's a way to, like, force it to, you know, allow you, so, like, even though I'm himbo, to do a scan for bimbo rating. But that's gonna take a lot of extra work, and I think I'd rather make a stream of me doing software development and shit like that when I do it.
I get 2 Inquire Withins.
Alright, hang on a second. So so the message will be, you can set your pronouns at da-da-da-da-da. Pronouns allow the streamer/chat to know your chosen pronouns when viewing Twitch streams via Franzer Face, Better Twitch TV / 7TV app. So yeah, it's so low. Don't worry. Maybe I'll do a thing where, like, you get, like, a boost depending on, like, your subscription and how long you've subscribed and such. I'll need to do some research into, like, you know, how I want to have the robot be influenced by monetary nonsense.
Pay to win himbosms.
There we go, 59%. I didn't know what thembos wanted in terms of, like, gains or curves, because I've made it so then that way, like, you know, himbos have gains, bimbos have curves. I don't know what thembos would like. I didn't know what to put down for that one, so I was like, let's go with both. Let's go with curves slash gains. So yeah.
Fuck it, let's go with Riz.
Riz. Do we want to go with Riz? Look at that. Look at those Riz.
Riz.
I don't know if
W
Riz would work.
Skibbity toilet, Sigmund.
Skippity.
Sigma male.
Okay, you can set your pronouns. Allow the streamer to know your chosen pronouns when viewing Twitch streams via friends or face. All right, there we go. Okay, so now, all right. Also, I should probably make it so when someone does exclamation point pronouns or exclamation point pronoun, exclamation point he him, exclamation point she her, they them. There we go. So now, if someone does, how do I set pronouns, question mark. There we go. You can set your pronouns at pralejo.io. Pronouns allow the streamer / chat to know your chosen pronouns when viewing Twitch streams via Friends or Face, Better Twitch TV, or 7TV. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Slowly but surely, the spot will
I have
be...
bad news.
What's your bad news?
I have been up for too long.
You stayed up since last night. You...
I wanted to play more Final Fantasy with
You
Wook
sacrificed
my
sleep!
waifu.
You... What about your wife?
I sacrifice my sleep schedule to summon Wook Lamat.
But your wife, IRL! What about her? What about her feelings?
To be fair, she's American, so like both of our sleep schedules are fucked.
Ah,
And we
okay.
sort of have like accepted this as fate.
You just accepted it that one of you is going to be tired when you try to ERP.
I have terrible news on that front.
Neither of you ERP.
No, like we do ERP separately, but none of us, like neither of us know how to like we don't know how to like get an ERP together for us two.
Okay. Like flirting, you just gotta be confident, and you gotta make the first move. All right. You wanna know some shortcut keys? You can do it in Discord. If you're doing it via typing, you like Control I and Control B. They work within the Discord desktop application, and you know.
Everywhere. Oh,
like-
sorry.
As you can tell, I'm tired.
Not to worry. I'll send you a link to explain these things, so then that way you're able to do like, you know, and then you can do like /me as well. There's all kinds of things you can do when you want to like ERP and you want to help like designate like actions versus speech and emphasis and what have you.
Oh no, it's just that we can't get like a we don't know how to story it. Like we don't know how to I don't know how to like start.
You're not drafting a porno though. Like it's literally just quite frankly, it's like sliding into the DMs and then you're just and then you work on it as it develops.
I see. So
You'll figure this out when you next wake up. I'm not gonna coach you on how to ERP at this point.
I'm gonna have to like just
Keep it a
rock
buck.
into my wife's DMs like Miles Morales and go.
I like Jat. No, this is how you do it. You do the exclamation point, Control I, so then that way it's an action. It's like you saunter on in, you lean on the door frame into their abode, and then you put in quotation marks. You like jazz?
I know I'm going to do something so funny.
Can't wait. Can't remember the last time I ERP'd. The last time I ERP'd is honestly, when was the last? Oh, it would have been years for me. Here's the thing. Back in university, like, I got no sex. I didn't have the Riz and what have you, but I ERP'd a lot. This is how the zebra came to be. This is the fun fact about furries, is that, like, the community is so fucking vast that it is derivative, like, trying to, like, do what CSI Miami did of being like, oh, it's a sex cult. It's like, no, that's not what the furry community is. Having said that, there are definitely people in the furry community who definitely went into it for a little bit of the sex, but that's not the only thing it's there for. We have all sorts of people. It's like the comic book industry. You have different flavors of comics and different flavors of people who go into comics. That's why you have different flavors of furries and different flavors of people who get into furries.
I know what I must do, but I cannot do it now.
That's okay. Get some
If
sleep.
If I do it now, I risk doing some real cringe shit.
Get some sleep.
And my wife is very much allergic to my
Go to
Gen
sleep.
Z, Gen Alpha bullshit.
Go to sleep right now.
I might.
I
end
will
up
kick
pulling-
you out of this chat.
Skibbity toilet ERP.
Don't you dare do a
Riz
Skibbity
Phantom
Toilet
Tax.
ERP. That is just cringe, even
Night
even
Sky Gem
regardless
paid
of
me
your.
to say meow meow.
See, like, Sky gets it.
I'm
But yeah,
gonna mog my wife.
Ugh, I'm gonna kick you. You're kicked from this fucking VC.
何
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Hang on. Can I? Let's.
You know what? We're talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's law might work. She likes Five Nights at Freddy's.
Done. You're out. You're gone. What you have to do is talk about Five Nights at Freddy. Sure thing. What's his name? Sure thing, Matt Pat. Alrighty, we now need to talk to Wuklamat. Ready to head on in? Mm-hmm. Yes, I already headed in, so this is gonna be easies. Ridiculous. I was gonna say I could appeal to her autism. Have you ever heard of the phrase "rism with a tism"? I love how Night Sky is just like, oh, let me get the clip for create. No, you title your clips if you can. Our next task should be finding the Elector. Hopefully our relative tardiness will not reflect poorly upon us. It got real. Thank you, Sky. Something else you can do is talk about the upcoming Shrek 5. You're way too tired. Go to sleep! Go to sleep, Cap. You stayed up overnight. You ruined your enjoyment of the Final Fantasy XIV stream by staying up all night and all through the morning. It is now 10:48 a.m. What the fuck are you doing with, like, over 16 hours of awakeness? Also, hang on a sec. I gotta log my food for today, because I had an iced I had an iced mocha, I had a hot tea, and because it's my cheat day, I opened my morning with a chocolate croissant from Brumby's. Here it is, chocolate croissant. Oh. I had such a filling morning. Holy shit. 700 calories. This gonna be good. Fuck you mean, nuh-uh. The third promise and her, retourne, I presume. Uh-huh. You presume right. I seek the Dawn Servant's Elector. Then come and join us in the Garden of the Stars as the village center. Everyone is waiting for you. Is this a mustache? Should I be thinking of him as like a twirly mustache thing, or should I be thinking of those as like fangs in a way? Because I like to think they're twirly mustache. Mustache man. Everyone? And who might that be? There is but one way to find out. Come, let's follow him. But yeah. Hey, thank you, Sky, for dropping the clips in the correct channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
At last, we are graced by the presence of the third promise.
If I'd known we'd be waiting on your mangy hide, I wouldn't have bothered with Ligarmanda in the first place.
Oh, fuck you.
You self-serving piece of weaver dung! Do you have any idea how many could have been hurt?
Do you know how many did get hurt?
Now that we are assembled, let us begin. My name is Hunmuruk. As Ibrash Rash, I have the honor of serving as elector on behalf of my people. As all 4 claimants must be present for this feat, we have eagerly awaited your arrival. Third promise, if you would please join us.
Dun, 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 dun. I control my mustache to mess with my friends. You form a handlebar mustache if you're feeling like a cartoon. No, 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 no. The twirly, like, the cartoon villain is the twirly mustache. The handlebar mustache is like, the spectrum does not properly fit who the handlebars are for.
We'll test your
Cookie for Bookie.
You must complete this challenge in teams of 2.
Oh.
What? You expect us to work with one of these weaklings?
Yes. Get fucked.
Be warned. Only the triumphant team will receive keystones. I advise you to cooperate with your partner.
The 2 adopteds are going to be
Teams will
absolutely
be
great at
decided
this.
by lots. Those who draw the same color will be paired accordingly.
Oh. Oh, okay. We don't get to pick. Alright, let's see. Who do we get?
Forbid Wuklamat is paired with Bakul Jajar. After all he's put her through, I wouldn't blame her if she did something rash. I might even help.
Alize just ready to pick violence.
Claimants, please present your colors. I have red.
Alright, so Koana has red.
Blue. On separate teams, then. And the rest?
Yeah! Cat team!
Again, as fate would have it.
Cat team! Cat team! Cat team! Cat team!
Victory's as
Cat
good as
team!
ours.
Cat team! Cat team!
With our claimants thus paired, so too is their opposition.
Not the one-head.
You got your ass kicked, and he didn't even pull out his swords.
Listen well, for the trial that awaits you is as follows. Each team is to prepare a sample of traditional Shebrol cuisine. Shibruk Pibil.
Shibruk Quibil. I have no idea how we're cooking this.
And now we must cook. Another ludicrous feat.
Oh, shut up. Enjoy your
Might
culture.
seem, but there's bound to be deeper meaning to it.
Agreed. Given that the very future of our nation is at stake, all parts of this rite must have significance.
Our promises have grown rather promising, wouldn't you say? Indeed.
But in Tis.
If I were to guess at the significance of the feat, few things reflect the history and development of a culture so clearly as its culinary traditions.
The variety of stewed dishes in Garlean cuisine bespeaks their agricultural roots and cold climes, true.
The The peoples we've met on our journey, they've all had different practices involving food and drink. The Hanu Hanu replenish their magical energies with reeds, while the Pelu Pelu have turned their fondness of beverages into a living.
I would be amazed if at the end of all this,
Basically,
we get a
to
big
know a people's
feast.
cuisine is to know something of their ways.
I think it would be amazing if,
With each feat,
like,
we've deepened our familiarity with a given community's history and culture.
we just have like a big feast for like
this
whoever
what
the new
Father
Dawn
intended for
servant
us
is,
all
and
along?
it's like each of the different clans and what have you bringing in with their major like culinary expertise.
But a leader with his vision must see that the past doesn't hold the answers we need. It is through embracing innovation, not adhering to tradition, that we will usher Tuli Yolal onto a more prosperous future.
But by learning of our past, we can earn both the benefits and the mistakes, so then that way we do not repeat history. It's important to take both into context.
The rules are simple.
I get where
The
you're
first
coming
team to
from,
prepare
science
and partake
boy,
of
but
satisfactory shipment
learn.
meal will be deemed victorious. You will be judged by your sample's taste and appearance, as well as your adherence to appropriate cooking techniques. Kitchens have been made available for your use. Note that you may be asked to retry should your dish fail to pass muster. Let the feat of repast begin.
Oh, you have an autism assessment on Monday. Good luck on that one, Cap. Sorry, I like missed on some of those messages as we argued. Also, I checked the Discord and I did a Keck
I've never
WF.
actually heard of Shibruk Bibil before. What's it like, I wonder?
Pibil. Never heard of it before. Obviously, those guys will be hunting, and this guy is going to be an idiot and not know how to cook. This is gonna be funky to see how the other team goes. I reckon Cat team is gonna do well. How fortunate that this feat's unique stipulations has frustrated Bakul Jaja's attempts to delay us. Serves him right. That's what he gets for endangering my people with his schemes. Why doesn't he just compete fairly? He's plenty strong and obviously has a mind for strategy, twisted though it may be. I'll never understand him. Putting aside our competition for the moment, allow me to express how glad I am for this opportunity to work together. As I see it, our team possesses a distinct advantage. Cats! The distinct advantage is that you're both furries, but you're different scales of furries. We've got entry-level furry, aka Sashera, and then you've got Wooklama, who is furry, aka Grant. Sash, are you here? Sash! No. Of course we do! Any team I'm on is bound to succeed. Precisely. You mean we have an advantage in numbers, yes? Our competition has a team of 6, the 2 claimants, Surreal Ja, and Bulk Jaja's lackeys. Whereas we are a team of 9, that's 3 more people we could mobilize. With the task suitably delegated, it should be a brisk affair to learn the recipe and assemble necessary ingredients. Oh, Star, fun fact, you do not need a fursuit to be a furry. I did not get a fursuit until, like, nearly a decade of, like, being in the furry community and what have you. And you know what? This, like, a VR chat model / VRM, this here is amazing. This here is how more people recognize me as, you know, the VTuber model rather than the fursuit model. Because I'm gonna be real with you, I'm not like a 7-foot like Kronk-shaped Dorito muscle head in real life. I am 150 kilogram like 5-foot something dude. There's like padding in the arms. If I was a richer fur, I would like cut out like all the stomach nonsense, put it into like my ass or something, and then I'd get a full body fursuit like those mascots at football games with the padded muscle on like the arms and the chest. Yeah. Inconceivable. 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 I was not a furry until someone gave me a fursuit. I didn't want to be a furry. So they forced the fursuit upon you, and they were like, remember who you are. And you were like, I don't want it. And then the next thing you know, you're going through like a transformation sequence as you put on this fursuit, and you're just like, what have I become? And you look at your hands, and it's just like a classic Victorian era werewolf horror story where you're just like, is this the true meaning of man? The repression of the animal instincts coming forth through decades of improper balance of behaviors and emotions? Now you have a fursuit and a furry now. Excellent. Too easy. Well, we mustn't be overconfident, lest we make a careless mistake that could have been easily avoided. Our first order of business should be determining the recipe for Zebril Elbiquil. We can barely gather ingredients for a dish we know nothing about. Given the nature of this feat, asking for answers directly may prove less effective than simply observing the daily habits of the Zebral people. Let us gather here once we have seen what clues this village has to offer. All the cool kids are doing it. All the cool kids are getting sexy personas on the internet. All the cool kids. The coolest kids have the biggest titties. Take it from me, GrantZeebs, who has totally no bias. Totally no bias whatsoever for the encouragement of himbo-bimboism and, you know, giant muscles, pecs, and boobies. Oh my god, how big is this search district? Oh hey, there's a thingy-majiggy point. Hang on a second. Your Sona has a belly and big thighs. So are they like bottom heavy or are they like apple? Quibrax. Standing on the edge of a cenotone in the midst of dense forest, the Zebral's home village has a clearing open to the sky for stargazing. The name of the settlement means Red Brax, a fierce beast related to the Coral, and this bold shade is painted liberally upon the walls of their wooden dwelling. They're kind of pear-shaped. Pear-shape's good. Respectable. Colored spices. A number of spices, some entirely unfamiliar to you, are nestled in a basket. That one's called achiote. We mostly use it to add a bit of color to our most popular cuisine, but its medicinal benefits are significant as well. The food ain't ready yet, you hear? Oh, you aren't here for that. Apologies. I get people breathing down my neck constantly, like they don't realize a proper meal takes time. Alright, so we're talking about a proper-sized meal. Also, I need to kick out, Sid party. The recipe for Zebrok's prequel? I wish I could tell you, friend. A dish so delicious is meant to be shared. Alas, we are forbidden from divulging anything. Orders from Hamu Rook himself. But your mentioning it has given me a fierce craving. I could only hope there's still Ibruk to be had at the market. I only hope there's this chicken at the market. I'm guessing he's talking about a chicken. Muscle. Alright, anyway, what the fuck are you two doing? Oh, they're wrestling, okay. And then Alphina. And what flavor would that be? They're doing their best. Oh, hey, these guys. Hello. Ubigo. We ought to cut our losses and head to Mamuk. This feat is nothing but a fool's errand. You're the fool if you think he won't tan our hides for leather if we dare to return without enough keystones. Besides, we've taken from the house cat before. How difficult could be a second time? What are you looking at, salt liquor? Mind your own business. That is honestly hurtful. I don't know if that was, like, meant as a generic insult or if that was, like, directed to me as a hoss, but I'm gonna put that down as, like, as an insult. Salt liquor. You're losing some of that shape because of the gym? Hey, at least... Okay, if you're planning on losing that shape because of the gym, good work on you, Star Kuma. I, myself, IRL, am also doing what I can to lose weight where I can. Because, as I mentioned previously, I was like 150, 140 kilos. And I want to try and remove as much of that weight possible. There's an advertisement going off in 30 seconds, but I'm going to at least tell you this now. I've gotten an app, MyFitnessPal, to track what I'm eating and what have you. And the fact that I've started doing that, I have eaten far less food. Normally I go for fast food like 3 times a week or even 5 times a week sometimes. It's now being far less than that. So I've gone down from like 147 kilos or something. I'm now down to 142 kilos. I am making my way down, and I want to try and get under 120 kilos before December comes in, when it's the Christmas break for me. Who am I talking? I need to talk to... A bright banana peel. That is a very bright banana peel. My goodness, what a flamboyant, fruity peel. An unusually colored banana peel has been neatly arranged on the ground, which appears to be smoking. Oh no, it appears I've gone and dropped my Chatika banana peel. I could barely see it from all the steam issuing from my underground oven. Ah, there's nothing I like enjoying a tasty banana while you use the leaves in your cooking. Wink, oink, oink, oink. This is how I imagine all the cat people in this tribe. They're just like, oh my goodness, I have misplaced this food that goes into this apparatus using these methods. If I remember, I'm like 95 kilos. I wish I was 95 kilos. I wish I was that light. Alrighty, alright, we're going this way next. I love how these guys are like, a banana? They have no clue how to treat the banana. Ugh, excuse me. Boy. Alright. Hi, Jack. Welcome to the stream. You missed out on a very fruity banana. Hang on a second. I can go back to the fruity banana if you want, but probably not the best idea. Hello. We're going to be So, hang on. What does the journal say? We need to learn how to make a Zebruk Pibil. And apparently, we need something from the market. We need a colorful banana, and it goes into an oven, and we use the banana peels on something. I get that, but I'm like 172 centimeters. Oh, you, That's That's not too short. Okay, here's the thing. I'm 177. I think I'm 177. It's been a while since I've measured my height because I'm not, you know, concerned. But yeah, I'm like 177, and then putting in like the fact that I was like 140 kilos, that is grossly overweight. That is some obese levels. Sorry. Also, look, Woklamat. Isn't she? Nope. Hang on. Isn't she amazing? Woklamat. Isn't she so amazing, Jack? I hope you're having a wonderful time wherever it is you are. All right. Sorry, I'm back. What did we discover about the Brook Piquil? Pibil. True to your prediction, the villagers were forbidden for educating us, directly. However, many were still prepping it as one might a stable dish, and observations of their techniques yielded clues enough. A lady blending local herbs and spices were only too happy to describe the ones I didn't recognize, while neither confirming nor denying any relation to the Zebruk Pibil. But one in particular she attributed to all common Zabral dishes. Achiote, she called it. I see. Then a Zebruk Pibil is indeed a dish as ubiquitous as Alphino claims. We have confirmed our first ingredient. Spice. Meanwhile, I did observe a cook burying bundles wrapped in the leaves of najul, or banana, in certain localities. 'Twould seem the use of subterranean ovens is commonplace. I saw the same. I think we all know what's inside those bundles then, don't you? The chicken. Bibruk, without a doubt. Bibruk. As would be expected of a dish called Zebruk I recall. I don't know how to say this word, even though they said it in the cutscene earlier. Do you eat your bananas with or without the shell? I don't eat bananas. So, to summarize, this dish is one of Ibruk, flavored with a combination of spices that involves achiote and steamed underground within najul or banana leaves. Given our assumptions are correct, we must now learn where and how to procure our ingredients. As a staple cuisine, its ingredients would be close at hand, which is why Thancred and I scouted the surrounding forests while you were all exploring the village. Between the local vegetation and wild Ibruk, we should have everything we need in regards to meat and spices. Ha! Leave it to a master gleaner. With that, we should next divvy up our tasks. While some gather ingredients, others should make ready the kitchen. I can help prepare the kitchen. Permit me to assist as well. Our ovens will doubtlessly require firewood, and I have some expertise in its gathering. Only because you need the potassium. Fair enough. I too should be glad to volunteer mine aid. Then the rest of us will gather ingredients. I can make quick work of the spices and herbs myself. And I am happy to lead someone to a suitable Ibruk if they were to perform the requisite deed. Alize? As for the Najul leaves, I believe I am capable of acquiring that much on my own. Be warned, you won't find Najul in these parts. They only grow in the Jatika heartland, forests far below these. Such an excursion may be time-consuming. Perhaps we ought to try bartering first. This feat encourages our communication with the locals, after all. Lamati, Grant, if you would accompany me on my errand. No better way to whet my appetite. Oh, she's just so sexy. I love her. Good. Let us be about our task then. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I like Lamat. I think she's wonderful. I think she's great. I like her. Alrighty, hang on a sec. Rather than going with my warrior, I am gonna go as my paladin here. So then that way I can get a little bit of experience. Come on, let's go and get those Najul leaves. The sooner we do, the sooner we can eat. So yeah, so I'm wearing all of that. Dark mahogany and dark mahogany. Let's see. 663. Cobalt tungsten vest. Is it better than what I'm currently wearing? Yes, it is! Hell yeah! Oh my gosh, we are going to have a very wonderful time, aren't we? We're gonna be wearing some cobalt shit. Spicy brook wrapped in Najul leaves. That sounds like a winning combination to me. And then we're gonna get some leggings for our troubles. Let us see if there are Najul leaves to be had in town. Perhaps the cook Orianger mentioned might be persuaded to spare us a few. There was the one time you ate the peel to mess with someone. Of course. Oh, speaking... Okay, so I didn't eat the banana peel, but one time, I decided... So, I got a picture. You know chicken nuggets? How you have, like, a piece of chicken, and you normally, like, crumb it, and then you deep fry it, and then you have, like, a lovely, crust around the chicken? I decided to peel that. Because, you know, most people eat their chicken nuggets with the crust and all that kind of such. But I decided to be like, hey, do you eat your chicken nuggets with or without the peel? So... Oh, me? Yes, I shared it with you, didn't I, Jack? I shared it with you, the thingamadiggy, excuse me. I like peeling my nuggies, too. Oh, nothing better than a peeled nugget. Alright. Oh, hello again. Do you need something? Najul leaves, for purposes other than the Biquil naturally. Unfortunately, I've just used up my last. You'll have to travel to the lower forests for more. Golmagic Grove is the source of the finest Najul leaves you'll find. Wild variants you sometimes see in city markets can't compare. I see. I'd hoped to avoid such a lengthy venture, but if there's no other way to obtain our ingredient, then to Jatika Heartland we shall go. You threw the banana away and ate the peel while looking at... Wait. You threw the banana away and ate the peel. So rather than eating the banana with the peel, you just ate the peel. What? What? I think I remember that I used to peel the nuggets and eat the kid, but not the chicken itself. Oh my gosh. Hello. Traveling there requires that you do go through the Tianekbek Traverse, but it is caved in due to the recent storm, I expect. What? But that means we can't get our Najul leaves. But we can, can't we? If there were no other way of procuring them, you would have suspended this feat or else altered its objective. Perhaps. Anyway, I apologize for the interruption, but having overheard your conversation, I felt compelled to chime in. That's very kind of you. Any last-minute advice you'd be willing to share? Only to undertake the feat of repast with an empty stomach. You may find the brick piquil to be a delicious but daunting dish to finish. I can't wait. Cool. You didn't throw it away, you just put it back in your lunch bag. But you ate the peel on its own. That's like peeling an apple and eating the peel of the apple, instead of just, you know, biting into the apple. Still, if there were no leaves here and we can't travel for more, how are we supposed to gather all of our ingredients? These feats are meant to deepen our understanding of the peoples and cultures of Tuliol. So perhaps there is something about Zibrick Piquil that we have yet to learn, something of significance other than its recipe or ingredients. Oh, I see. Let's see who the first to make it. It's history. That sort of thing. Ahem. If it's Yaktel's history you're interested in, you should start with the old war between the Zabral and the Mamul-Jah, right? Mm-hmm. These forests have borne witness to centuries of warfare, the evidence of which remains a scar upon the earth. To know the end of that bloodshed is to know Zibrick Piquil. Pibil. Huh. What does steamed Ibrick have to do with bloodshed? Precisely the question we must answer. Vexing though such detour may seem, I can think of no other way to approach this feat. In that case, you may wish to visit the site of a settlement ruined by the war, the village of Iyon Asho. It lies a short distance to the east. Alright, we're heading east. The village of Iyon Asho. Understood. Thank you for your help. Come, let's go and see this place. It was worth seeing the look of confusion and horror on a friend's face. I wish I could convey the horror on my face, but I'm not the most expressive like person IRL, so it doesn't like show as easily on like VTuber models, unfortunately. Excuse me, throat. Oh, here comes the music. I should probably adjust my music settings, shouldn't I? So, master volume. Oh, the background. The background music is already like pretty loud. We've got our performance. I've also been like adjusting my hotbar across the different tanks to try and like even out the fact that like, because earlier like all this stuff here and there was like in entire wildly different places. But I do realize I've not yet done everything in the correct spot. I'm gonna put Holy Spirit, Holy Circle up here. Confer is gonna stay down there. Iron Will is that. I'm gonna put Cover here. And then I'm gonna put Circle of Scorn. I'm gonna have it where this is gonna have a lot of like the damage, like that will have the damage over time thing. I've already got Intervention and Divine Veil. Passage I'll put here. Intervene I'll put here. I've already got my Holy Sanctum and oh, Guardian. I need to put Guardian here. Duration, the cooldown is... So that recast is like 5 seconds, and it lasts for like 8 seconds from the looks of it, so I can cast that as many times as I want. That one is a little bit of an emergency pull, and I've got my Exposition there. My Hallowed Ground is here as like my emergency imperviousness. Alrighty then, I think we're good. I think we're better. The village of Iyon Asho must be further east. Let us continue with haste. For all we know, our competitors may be on our heels. Let's move. Oh, hey, there's a fate. We gotta do a fate. It's not a question of if, but when. Mantis mating season is upon us, when females gather in numbers to feed before they lay their eggs. Unfortunately, they have a taste for, well, anything that moves. My partner and I have spotted a swarm no more than a stone's throw from this very watchtower and have put out the call to Brax for reinforcements, but as you can see, they are slow to arrive. I would normally not burden an outsider with the troubles of our people, but I fear my companion and I cannot hold this tower alone, and if we fail, the village might be next. Your gesture may have just saved us all, my friend. My thanks, traveler. Dun, 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 dun. Alrighty. I've also like changed like how the hotkeys work, so you'll notice that like instead of doing like 6, 7 there, it's actually the shift key. So it's shift. So rather than going like 7, 8, 9, 10 or 7, 8, 9, 0, it goes shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But to be real with you, like depending on how slow I can take this, I will just simply, you know, do that. And then let's do this. Let's see how this looks. There we go. So far, so good. So yeah, it will take a little bit for me to like, you know, get comfortable with my new setup of hotkeys, but for the hotbar. But I reckon I'll get it. I reckon I'll get it. So, because everyone's like, you know, using R's and T's and what have you, but I've not yet done that personally. So, we'll see how we go with this one. And, so yeah, I can activate my nice resolve stuff a lot earlier compared to normal. Ooh, for lawn. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, when I get into panic mode, I do like revert back to using 5 and 6 as my things, which is not great. Oh hey, I'm getting help. Excellent. Because that is not my chocobo that was doing all that. Nice! Almost got 1,000,000 XP for that one. Bow. Thank you. Oh hey! Who are all these guys? Wait, they're walking? Okay. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. How do I make it so that I only walk? What am I doing? Like, what is... Tank? Tank? Oh, they're, like, all of these are RPers. What is going on? Just chewed out... Maybe just chewed out my manager about something I received on my desk. Can neither confirm or deny. Oh boy, what did you do? Also, how do I toggle between running and walking? I probably need to double check that. Moving forward, jump. Toggle between run and walk. Okay, there we go, there we go, there we go. Follow. And then that way I can, like... I wonder where they're going. Hey there. I wonder what's going on. It's not about what you did, it's what they did. I wonder what's... We're all going to the same place, so it's not a problem. Don't mind us, just out here on a little personal... Billion Soul? There. Okay, so they're going a little bit further. Where are they going? And then Freya tells me, have fun with that, it's a good part. Oh lord. Oh lord. I will be real with you. That was like a little fun experience of like just walking instead of like running. Like, I don't know, that... Alright, like, I know... Granted, this all spawned by RP shit, but... Walking in the MMO is kind of better than sprinting. Oh, hang on, we're done. No, my... I still got another... Alrighty then, we'll Lamotte. Tell us more! Tell me more, tell me more, did she put up a fight? Tell me more, was he really a guy? So, this is the village of Iyon Asho, or what's left of it. It was a place of light and life. My great-grandfather called it home, in fact. Hello. Wokefu! I didn't know you were in Yuktel. I was picking up lumber from Brox when I heard the third promise was on our way to this site of deep historical significance. I immediately saw another opportunity to be of service, and so followed you here. Wokevu is a shipwright who came to our aid during the Feast of Reeds. A pleasure. You are a member of the Third Promise retinue, I presume? For the moment, I suppose. My name is Koana. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Koana. Now that's a good name. A familiar name. Where have I heard? Koana? As in the second promise of Tululiol? That Koana? Yes, that Koana. To think I address the Dawn servant's own son as some common retainer! Such disrespect cannot be excused! Please, take up your gun and... Oh, come on, not this again! I take no offense, so please do not dwell on it. Alright then, I shan't dwell on it. And right on cue! At least he's consistent. I understand you wish to learn about Zibrik Pibil. While I am forbidden by the Zabrak rocks to divulge any information regarding its preparation, I would be happy to share what I know of Yuktel's history. We'd appreciate that. In its most basic sense, the conflict between the Zabral and the Majul Jah was one of land. The Mamul Jaw live in the lower forest, where the thick canopy obscures the sun and the soil is unforgiving to crops. This drove them to covet the upper forest, the home of the Zabral, and they launched a determined campaign to seize it for themselves. Yet advantage ever favors higher ground, and the Zabral forces held the upper hand against the invaders, rebuffing them time and time again. But as the state of this village would attest, the tide eventually turned. What brought it about? Something you know all too well, blessed siblings. You must understand, the Mamul Jah were once a people as much at war with themselves as they were with others. The Hubigo, Bonewa, and Dopro each sought to assert dominance over the others, even as they enraged the Zabral in combat. In an effort to strengthen bonds and discourage infighting, Hubigo and Bonewa leaders arranged a marriage between their children. However, this political measure altered the course of histories in ways no one could have ever imagined. It was long believed that partners of different clans could not have children together. But then it happened. A child arrived who shared the blood of Hubigo and Bonewa both. A two-headed Mamul Jah. Blessed with tremendous physical strength and magical prowess, he grew into a mighty warrior before eventually arising as the first Octarch, ruler of all three clans. Such qualities would dispose anyone to leadership, character notwithstanding. Under the Octarch rule, the newly united Mamul Jah became a force to be feared, and the war soon came to a head. I think it's best you see the results firsthand. Let us visit another battlefield from that time, and there I shall continue the tale. I wonder if this is going to bring up the fact that, the Dawn Servant, Mamul Jaja, is the, I wonder if he's the leader they're talking about. I wonder if they're talking about him as, like, the one responsible for the whole, you know, coming together and, you know, fighting against the Zabrak and all that. I wonder if that was them. Let's see. It's cool that we can walk. Also, I should probably, hang on a second, general. I need to do some materia extractions, because most of my gear is... I love how I can do this while walking as well. I thought I would stop, like, walking when I'm doing this. Oh, do you play the critically acclaimed MMORPG, Jack? Final Fantasy XIV? And then augmented medicine. Alright, cool. So that's all of them.
This is where most battles were fought between the Shabral and Mamulja, the Shobrit Cinderfield.
Oh boy.
A field of cinders, indeed. How fierce their clashes must have been.
The war over these lands began after the Yoqui's departure some 500 years ago. And for 4 centuries thereafter, the two enemies repaid violence with violence. A constant stream of minor skirmishes, punctuated by massive slaughter.
A cycle of violence.
Until Father ended their endless conflict 80 years ago.
I don't think it was
Accompanied
endless.
by a
Or I don't
retinue
think
of
it
only
was
6, the Dawn
meaningless.
Servant opposed both armies and brought the fighting to a standstill.
Wait, what?
First they sealed Bali Armanda at full strength, and now this.
It was during this armistice that both sides gathered for negotiations at the Dawn Servant's behest.
Uh-huh. Who was that? I barely got a good look at the armor they were wearing.
For too long, you have been bound by your ancestors' violent legacy. It is past time you broke free of it.
Galul, sorry.
Tell that to the Scale Scum! We fight to protect what is rightfully ours! If not for their greed, we'd be living in peace!
But it wasn't greed that they came
Buff
into the
your
north.
tails and scurry off, then! Cowards like you ill deserve the bounty of this forest.
Even should one of you succeed in vanquishing the other, your triumph will last only until a new invader arrives. Tell me, do you know of the vast continent that lies far to the east, where numerous nations vie for dominance?
He's talking about Eorzea.
You do not. And why should you? Affairs beyond the salt we have no intention to cross are of no consequence to us. Not until those affairs come to Tural, like our honored visitor here.
He's from across the ocean.
Can't you see the compass on his hip?
I've been to the ocean before, and it's nothing but water farther than the eye can see. What sort of vessel could possibly reach its end?
A big one.
That such technology exists is indisputable, as is foreign powers' awareness of Tural. If any such country were to develop a taste for Turali soil and bring to bear the might of innovations we can only imagine, what do you suppose happens then? You do not know the warlords of the East, but you know that if they came, they would not settle for a single forest. By joining hands, we might create a unified front, an alliance capable of repelling them or any other foe. There is no greater proof of these than my companions and I. Alone we are weak, but together we triumphed over Valigarmanda.
What? You defeated the Sky Ruin?
And it's because of the Sky Ruin defeat that they were able
I'd
to
take
go
you for a
around.
liar if the sting of our own defeat wasn't still fresh.
Their coordination was indeed impressive. How the Pelu stymied our efforts to cripple the Yokui's legs and defend our ballistas. And when we withdrew to strike again from a distance, the Hanu called the winds to make our arrows miss their marks. In seeking to exploit their weaknesses, we only subjected ourselves to their strengths.
Those strengths are born of cooperation. The guiding principle of the nation we envision.
But our feud has lasted for centuries. How do you expect us to join hands now?
Ha ha! Give us an evening to convince you.
I thought Galul Jaja would have been on the, you know, the Scaly side, and they would have won the war, and then he would have, you know, been like, oh, I want to broker peace. But I guess he came in as a third party at that point and, you know, forced the armistice.
And so began that legendary banquet.
Interesting that he uses, like, the fact that everyone was, like, you know, fighting, but there was this, you know, nation to the east, Eorzea, that could be growing in strength.
Silence hung over the venue. But then, the Dawn Servant called for the exchange of traditional cuisine. So it was that the Mamulja partook of spiced meat, and the Shibral steamed Najul.
Ah.
Before long, delight manifested upon the faces of those present, each side impressed by the other's dish. Seeing this, the Dawn Servant laughed and declared once more. Their flavors, he said, would be even better combined, and he proceeded to help them prepare the new creation.
That's Shibruk Pibil, I'd wager.
Pibil.
It is a marriage of Shibral and Mamulja cultures, and proof of their newfound cooperation. The Dawn Servant had asked for a single evening, but the feasting is said to have lasted 3 days and 3 nights. So delicious was their repast. In the end, a peace accord was reached, and the Dawn Servant's words at that time still illuminate our way forward.
Ignorance begets a strife. Understanding begets fellowship.
Nice.
Sorry. It's just to think that he ended an age-old conflict with food. It's all so absurd. It's somehow so very papa, I couldn't help but laugh.
Ignorance begets strife. Understanding begets fellowship.
Yep.
Now then, I trust you understand the significance of Shibruk Pibil and the history it has written.
Shibruk Pibil.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing the story with us.
Who was that?
What's wrong?
There was someone out there.
Someone was there, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps our competition is cooking up some scheme or another.
I don't know.
Bitter and half-baked, no doubt.
Who knows? Papa really did live up to his words. He traveled the land and learned about our people's myriad cultures. I'm gonna scale this window up just a little bit. I'm gonna make it like 100, like, how does this look? 102%. Does this look alright for people who might be reading off their phones and what have you? Or maybe, actually, let's go 160. Is 160 okay? Like, if we make it, like, this big? Granted, I start, like, you know, bumping into it, as you can see here with, like, my right arm, but, you know. Hello? Is this thing on? Hopefully it's on. Hopefully people are hearing these. Hi there, Velk. I'm not on phone, but that's pretty big. Alright, let's scale it down. Let's go 120, because that's what I had previously. Return to default position. Would this be okay? Like, I want to try and find, like, an appropriate size, so then that way, like, you know, if I'm reading through it or what have you, I want to give the people the opportunity to read ahead of time, or, worst case scenario, there's advertisement going off, and they can't hear what I'm saying, but they want to, you know, yeah. I honestly didn't know you could scale it. Yeah, you can. Like, look at this. You can scale it 200%! Lol. I reckon 140, actually, if I return to default position. I reckon 140 might be okay. I think 140, it makes it a little bit big, but it makes it a point where, so then that way, like, I think this is a reasonable size. Also, hi there, Velk, welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing alright. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, I just need to double check some emails. Next class, nope, scheduled. I already do scheduled tweets within the thingamajiggy itself. There is now a plugin for Photoshop for the Stream Deck. That's cool. Welcome, welcome. Had my brain broken by a palindrome earlier, still recovering. Oh, a palindrome. That's the one where it's like, you can read it forwards and backwards. There's a what for Photoshop? So if you've got a Stream Deck, there's a plugin, so you can have, like, special actions for, like, on your Stream Deck for Photoshop. And it looks like it has things such as, like, create a new layer, copy, or what have you. So, yeah. Bum, bum. So, open, close isn't a palindrome, but close, open, close is. Yeah. Yeah, I accept that. It looks wrong. Look, I get it that it looks wrong, but the reason why it looks wrong is because, alright, so looking at the palindrome here, how you think it looks like 2 zeros, you think, like, everyone thinks that the palindrome is a flip from the center. It's not. The flip is from the start of the line, so you have to, like, flip it around from there and do, like, you have to reverse all the characters. When you do it like that, it's not gonna look right. It will take, like, a visual thing to get it right. It just doesn't change. It doesn't change that it looks wrong. Yeah. I know, it's weird. And we're doing the same now. Yay, I get pants. Sorry, I'm just, like, doing... There we go. I'm slowly changing my attire. Bananas still weigh heavily upon Koana's mind. Banana. Wook Evu has given us valuable insight into the origins of Zabrik Ikpibil. However, we are still no closer to procuring the necessary Najul leaves. Unless... Tell me, was that historic feast commemorated in some fashion? With a monument, for instance? Indeed it was. Allow me to show you. Yeah, I'm not gonna make that in time, and I don't want to, like, run for it. Oh, actually, hang on a second. I have been forgetting the needful. 200 malms to the north. Okay, hang on a second. I have forgotten one of like the important things I need to be doing while I'm exploring like the horizons and what have you. I need to... It's gonna be a palindrome, isn't it? Oh, look, reading Jack's message, I absolutely understood it was gonna be a palindrome before they even told me it. There we go. Mount up. Dun, 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 dun. Abohophobia. Yep. Yep, it is. Cross spear and axe. Here it is. Offered up by the two factions. These weapons symbolize their vow and that they would never again raise arms against each other. Since this feat demands a journey through history, I thought it... Excuse me. Since this feat demands a journey through history, I thought it only logical that a monument like this might steer us true. Especially one at the heart of so significant a battlefield. Lamati, Grant, would you help me search this area for clues? Tell me if anything catches your eye. Sure thing. On the next advertisement, I might need to make it so that I can go to the bathroom. Look here! This soil has been recently overturned. Ooh! Someone buried a box! Banana. Well, well. I would have been satisfied to find only a hint, but... Hey, they are fresh Najul leaves. Hunmoon Rook's doing, I'd wager. There's a poetry in hiding them on this battlefield, given that it was central to the war they helped end. So he planned all this from the start. Thank you again, Wokevu. We wouldn't have found these leaves without your help. It was my honor to render assistance. And, with apologies to present company, allow me to offer my encouragement as well. Third promise. Ever since I witnessed your performance in the Feat of Reeds, I have been certain that you are the claimant most worthy of leading our nation. All devised solutions to the Hanuhanu's ailing crops, but you alone sought to know their culture and revive Ihihana, even if it seemed unrelated to your task. In my humble opinion, no one cares more for the people of Tuliol and what they hold dear. Should you again require the historical musings of an old shipwright, I am ever at your service. For now, I take my leave. I cannot argue with that. We have what we need. Let us return to Ibarax. Alrighty. Is there a fate going on nearby? No. Is there an Aether current? 400 leagues to the south. So it's heading towards Mamuk, which will no doubt be part of, like, the next, thingy. And then, obviously, there's a thingy-majiggy here. And then a giant hole. Motorcycle time. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yum, yum. Zoom. Well, that fate's gonna disappear in like 30 seconds, so it's not worth trying to get to it. Dun, dun, dun. I've got the Blissful. I don't know how I got this guy. Titania's Power. Ah, okay, so that's how I got them. And then... Oh, hang on. Aether Compass? 200 to the northwest. Alrighty, so we're gonna have to travel up to the northwest, most likely. Let's cut through. To the northeast. Oh, it's putting us in a weird spot, isn't it? Alright, hang on, let's see. Can we... Alright, let's... It's probably, like, up on that cliff, most likely. Excuse me. Southeast? Yep, so it's probably, like, just there or something or rather. Yep, okay, I'm gonna run an advertisement ahead of time after I get this Aether Current, so then that way I can go to the bathroom really quick and what have you. So you're gonna deal with a 3-minute advertisement. So hang on a second, gonna attune to this. And then I'm gonna just teleport here, so then that way I'm not like in danger of the wildlife and such. 3-minute advertisement as I go for a bathroom break.
Cerveza cristal. Cerveza cristal.
Alrighty. I have returned. I could have, yeah, I should have done a little dance, shouldn't I? I'm sorry I didn't do a fun little jig. I'm sorry I didn't do like a fun little jig while I was gone. I could have done like this, couldn't I? I could have like just, you know, done a little dance while I was like waiting or something. I don't know if this is an infinite loop, however. Nah, it doesn't look like it's an infinite loop, unfortunately. Alrighty. Hopefully everyone is out of the advertisements at this point, so... Hello. I still have all these things I need to do at some point. Brave New World. Okay, so that's the level 80 stuff, then I got level 90. I need to find time off from the MSQ and do more of the side stuff. I'm glad we were successful. The others should be back soon, I expect. I hope so. I'm famished. Alright, we wait around for our buddies. How did everyone fare? We got the Najul leaves. Wokevu came along and helped us find them. Wokevu was here? I would have liked to say hello. Yes, he gave us an important history lesson. Galul Jaja brought... Sorry, hang on a second. Galul Jaja brought an end to centuries of warfare. Surprises me little, but to achieve said peace through cuisine is something else entirely. You used to do dances while waiting on things? Okay, so, sorry, clarification time. Did you play... So you've gone through the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, right? Right. Just the free content. Ah, okay. So none of the, not where we're up to right now with all of the paid content. I think with the free content, so long as you haven't done a subscription yet, you should be able to get up to Stormblood expansion now. Oh, wasn't paying attention. Welcome back, Star. It's been about an hour plus. Welcome back. Hopefully you're doing all right. I was just wondering who else. I was wondering if Jack had been playing Final Fantasy XIV, and then, you know, now it's extended to who else in the chat is playing through Final Fantasy XIV. I'm probably not, like, you know, up to date with everyone else, because, like, I'm gonna be real with you. Final Fantasy XIV is probably my most regular, like, game in, like, my series. Like, I've been playing this for, like, 3 years now, but that's because I've been pacing myself. I've not, like, other than, like, 2 or 3 occasions, I have not played this more than, like, let's say, twice a week, I would say. Once off stream, and then another time on stream. You honestly can't afford to pay this every month? Fair enough. The subscription cost is a little bit annoying. I go for, like, a 6-month subscription thing, because it gives you a discount when you do, like, longer days of renewals and such. So it is, like, granted, it is a little bit costly when payday comes in for, you know, paying for my subscription of Final Fantasy XIV, but overall, it costs less per month going with, like, you know, the bigger and larger than it does going for the month-by-month pay. Your superior was looking at some cosplay-related print. She's asking why there's a weird list of payments on their price board. Took a look and you died on the inside. What do you... Okay, like, if you don't want to say it, you don't have to. What do you do? Like, I do desktop support for, like, a company, but I only do the desktop support internally. So a lot of my work is, like, you know, helping users within either our proprietary systems or through, like, SharePoint and Slack and all those kinds of things. What are you doing, Jack? What are you doing where there's, like, cosplay prints and shit? Cosplay girls step on me for $25. Lol. Print shop. Oh yeah, because you were like Blue Foxy Nicey Icy got his stickers from you, right? That's what you do. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I forgot. Leave it to my old man to find the oddest of solutions. But how about the rest of you? Is our kitchen ready? Everything should be in order. Urianger and I made another tour of the village and borrowed the cooking utensils we need, with no mention of what we needed them for, of course. And I am pleased to report that we are stocked with the finest firewood this forest had an offer. Spoken like a true expert. Aaronville and I found our Ibrook, so we should have meat aplenty. It was a spirited creature, so much so that its hunters fell down a cenote trying to catch it. What part of never speak of this to anyone did you not understand? Aaronville is just that kind of sass. He's just like, he's not gonna keep a secret for like embarrassing shit. He will keep a secret for like dangerous shit. I picked a good portion of local herbs, with particular attention to the seeds that yield achiote. I've told our resident astrologian to find the appropriate measurements for the seasoning as well. Though further inquiry did I determine the ideal balance of spices. Then all that remains is to prepare the dish itself. I presume that at least one amongst us is versed in the culinary arts. I can hardly claim profound skill, but I have cooked for myself. You can leave the rest to me. And you, I hope, as I recall, you are an accomplished culinarian. Technically, yes. I have, like, 50 levels into culinary skills, so I have been working on, like, the crafting skills, but I'm not up to, like, level 90 or some bullshit. Oh, my mouth is watering already. Without further delay, then. Oh my god, do you hear that music? Oh, never mind, it didn't stick for long, did it?
Oh, it smells so good.
Good, there is still time. I shall prepare our sample at once.
At first, I wasn't sure about being stuck with the one head. But better that than playing nanny to the mewling house cat.
You struggled.
Be quiet, Bakul Jaja. No one cares what you think.
Nice. Good comeback.
Huh. Act tough all you like. Victory will be ours.
It's ready.
Oh, and it's got like little, like, yay.
Apologies for the wait. We submit to you our Shibruk Pibil.
I love the soft taco.
This looks amazing!
The dish is prepared by using the culinary techniques of the Mamulja to cook the spiced meats favored by the Jabral. It is a symbol of peace between their two peoples after centuries of war.
Both the ingredients and your methods appear to have been correct. Now then.
Oh, it's so small. Please don't be too hot.
In taste, texture, and aroma, you have recreated Shibruk Bibil admirably.
Yes!
Granted, anyone might well achieve similar results by following the recipe to the letter. But you went a step further. You sought to learn the cultural significance of the dish, about Yoktel's history of violence and your father's role in ending it. Your willingness to take lessons from the past befits aspiring Dawn servants. And for that, I commend you. All that remains is to partake of your creation. True understanding is gained only through experience.
Now this is something I'm definitely good at.
Ahem. I believe we have yet to receive our assessment. Ours is also a faithful example of Shibruk Pibil, as you will no doubt agree.
Not bad. That's an inquisitive... What's wrong with it? You had concerns.
I see.
That's a serious look. What you gonna say?
While your effort looks the part, unlike the second and third promises dish, it lacks its defining aroma.
Ooh.
Preposterous! The meat was marinated and spiced before being steamed in an earthen oven. This is Shibruk Pibil.
Oh? And what about the Jatika banana leaf?
It's not Jatika.
It's because of you that we couldn't get any damn leaves! You can't fault us!
Lol. Wrong.
But the second and third promises had no such difficulty, did they? That which they needed, they acquired simply by showing interest in our history and heritage.
Ugh, it's just some crusty old leaf. What difference could it make?
It cost you a keystone. That's the difference.
Your dish lacks an essential ingredient. As you have failed to demonstrate an adequate understanding of Shibruk Pibil, I must deem your performance unsatisfactory. Your team will not receive keystones.
This was stupid anyway.
No, it wasn't. What? I don't know what's behind this man's face. I have no idea what he's gonna say.
His ambition only grows more intense. That someone could harbor such dark thoughts towards family.
What do I care for this sham of a feat? I can always take what I need later.
I think she had an echo. I think that was just an echo moment because that's her thing. Like, her echo is all about, like, empathy and emotion.
So tender,
Ours is more
mouth,
about, like, a
and
recollection of
the way Majoli
events.
frowns out these spices is sublime.
Aw, look at her face. She's just...
This is the taste of harmony. Someone who only knows brute force and deception could never appreciate it.
Choke on your harmony.
Fuck you, Bakul. Asshole.
Come. Finish your meal. That too is part of the feat.
Me just shoveling down
Don't
that
have
shit.
to
just
tell
being
me
like,
twice.
Nom, nom. Just nomming it real loudly. Delicious.
Ah, that was bliss.
Look, here's the thing.
You've got real culinary talent.
Anything
If
from
you ever tire of
Japan,
adventuring, you can always be my personal
any
chef.
media from Japan will normally do an amazing job with food. They don't half-ass it.
It was palatable enough, I suppose.
Americans and British half-ass the food in their thingamadiggies.
To you, who have successfully performed the feat of repast, I present these keystones.
Yay! Ooh, piece of candy.
Only 1 feet left.
Well, I should get going then.
Don't worry, I'm hungry the same, Jack. Saturday, however, is my cheat day, so I'm gonna... So, fun fact, Jack, I am now 142 kilos. I have been losing weight consistently.
Wasn't paired with one of the others.
Yay.
We can do better than that, surely.
So I've gone down from 146.9 kilograms. I'm from last week. I am now down to 142.2 now. So I've been doing a consistent weight loss like each week.
I forgot something important.
What did you forget?
Was there any Shipbrook people left? I could really use another helping.
She just wants more. Oh my god, is that fucking Pikachu? Heliodor Carbuncle. It looks like a fucking Pikachu from a distance. I was just like, what the shit? But okay. Waklamot. That was so good! I'm already looking forward to having Zabruk Bibil again. Here, Grant. Krill made more using leftover ingredients. You'll love it. I'm thinking to buy more for the road myself. Now that the feast of repast is over, the villagers should be free to offer it to us, right? Ooh, it's a tabletop thing to do. New wares are now available from Zabril Bra merchants. Boots. Seeing as we now face the penultimate objective of the rite, it would be wise to travel to Mamuk and undertake the feat of the Brotherhood without delay. Wise, yes, but impossible. The Tianebek Traverse, which connects the upper forest to the Jatika heartland, is still impassable. Is there no other route? I'm afraid not. Work to clear the path is underway, though, so I'm hopeful we can resume our journey soon. Then let us each use this time as we see fit. Aha. I, for one, would like to explore the village surrounds. If Erenville would oblige me with a tour... Very well. I have no other arrangements. Then I will come with you, if only to prove that I am capable of keeping my footing. Though I shouldn't rejoice in our delay, it does afford me an opportunity to look into my grandfather's purported visit to Yuktel. Oh, that's right! Mablu did say something about a foreign mage coming through here decades back, didn't she? I'll come with you. Want to join us, Grant? Yay. Will do. Let us reconvene here after our respective diversions. As I recall, the merchant met my grandfather at the market in Yuktel some 20 years ago. Any who might reliably remember him must therefore be at least middle-aged. Let us make inquiries where we can. I should honestly, like, swap the, let's go for a dark mahogany weapon this time. Interesting that it does, like, a little curved blade like it did back in, Paktika. I don't know how I feel about the heavy cobalt when everything else on me is red, though. Hello. A foreign mage? 20 years ago? Yes, I remember him. It's not often we get visitors from across the salt, let alone those traveling with infants. A baby girl, as I recall. I only saw him in passing, mind. If anyone were to know more, I'd wager it would be Hanmu Rook. He was already Zabrak Rax then. A baby girl? It couldn't have been. Thank you, sir. That information is very helpful. Dun, dun. And then there's like... I need to figure out what the fate is that everyone is going to for more mounts in this game. Azure Ski. Nope, that's not Azure Ski. Hello again. Do you require assistance? A foreign mage passed through Ibarax roughly 20 years ago, possibly carrying a young child. Do you remember him? Why do you ask me this? Who is this man to you? He may have been my grandfather, and I wish to know what brought him here. Your grandfather? Not by blood, but he is family nonetheless. A foreign mage did indeed visit Irabarok's Master Galof. Huh? Huh? She looked catnipped out of her mind then. So far as his identity is concerned, I trust you are satisfied? More than that, however, I cannot say. Why not? I simply cannot. I beg your forgiveness and understanding. Very well, I will not press. Thank you for confirming his presence here. The rest I will discover myself. Out of more general curiosity, I have another question. They say the Yakul once dwelled in these forests. Where was that exactly? General curiosity indeed. But yes, before they withdrew to Uquapaka some 5 centuries ago, the Yakul claimed Yuktel as their own. Many of their architectural remains can be found in the lower forest, the Jatika's heartland. Then that's where they must have had their visions. Thank you. That answer much and more. I understand what it means to long for one's family, so believe me when I say that though my position forbids me from aiding you further, I wish you nothing but success. By helping the third promise find the Golden City, you will surely find the answers to your questions. Speaking of which, I have a query of my own for you, Grant. May I request a moment of your company? Go on, we'll wait for you. So June's weight, I was 143. May, I was 142. October 2023, I was 130 kilos, so I want to try and aim for that weight again. Thank you for obliging me. First, let us head to the cenote behind this village. Vince Viper. Hi, unnamed. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. How is it going? Did you enjoy your Warhammers? How's work? Hanmu Rook. You slept like shit. Oh, I wonder why. Why did you sleep like shit after staying up so late to watch me play Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine? Kept getting called into... Ah! Goddamn meetings. You did this, you damn barcode. I did no such thing. I played the game to the best of my abilities with the time allotted to me. You with your Warhammer knowledge were just sort of like, hey, did you know the elves have their own racial terms for the humans? Hey, did you know that the orcs are just fungi? Hey, did you know that the Chaos God Nurgle has, like, a woman locked up in a cage? You gave me such terrible things. And then later on, you were like, hey, you know what you should do? You dumb himbo? You should read. You should read a book. You want to do that, right, Grant? You want to read? You want to read words? You want to read things? I don't think you can read. Bullshit, I can read! Give me 18 bucks in my coffee and I'll get that book and I'll read. I'll read. It was my... Watch this as I read. It was my intention to see you off without saying anything, but Mistress Krill's plea has softened my resolve. Huh? As the leader of our community, I am gladdened to see that the third promise has surrounded herself with such compassionate and trustworthy companions. Would you tell me of her journey thus far? There's too many fingers. All AI reading? What the sh... Anywho's, is that so? It seems the rite has been a source of great learning and growth for Woklamut. Mm-hmm. It does me well to hear that. Hmm? My daughter would be about her age. Girls are rarely born amongst the Zabral, so when she arrived, the village was elated. Such joy I felt when first I held her, and pain when I found her at the bottom of a cenote. 3 years old. An accident, it was said. But I knew better. She had been pushed. Though we never caught them, a suspicious figure was seen fleeing towards the Jatika heartland, towards Mamuk. Once bitter enemies, the Mamuja and Zabral had learned to live in peace. But who could doubt the intent of such a reprehensible act? By targeting the child who would one day lead her people, the criminals sought to undermine the future of Zabral. I was determined not to let them succeed, and so I let the memory of my daughter die in that cenote, and gave her into the care of the one person I knew who could protect her. Dawn's servant, Galul Jaja. Wait! Wait, you're telling me, like, Wook Lamont is your daughter? Is that what you're telling me? Though she was born to lead the Zabral, a fate had a greater plan for Wook Lamont. Are you... Only the Dawn servant and I know the truth, but I must now take you into my confidence for one reason. If the villain who attempted to murder my daughter was indeed of Mamuk, then rancor towards the Zabral still burns. I was caught off guard once. I will not suffer the same tragedy again. And so I ask you, not as the Dawn servant's elector, but as a father, to watch over the third promise, defend her from her enemies that may be lurking in shadow. Will you do this for me? Abso-fucking-lutely, I will do this. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. That is fucking crazy. Will you hear my question and answer me plainly? Address me not as the ruler of Tululuroi, but a concerned father. So she could have been like, you know, raised to lead the Zabral, the Rothgars and what have you, but instead is possibly a candidate for ruling over Tulora? Like, fuck, that's crazy. Suffice it to say, this conversation must remain between us. Pray breathe not a word of this to anyone. Okay. I'm not 100% down for these kinds of secrets. I don't know why my character is just like, yeah, leave it to me, but like, come on. Like, it's not like you abandoned her forever. You passed her on to the Dawn servant. She was adopted and shit. Like, she didn't have a Naruto nonsense where she had no family for several years. Like, and what's more is she's, like, all of this was in the name of protecting her because of, you know, animosity between the Zabral and Mamul. And we don't know what's gonna happen when we go to Mamul. She's probably gonna want to know this. Sure, she might have a bit of anxiety when we go over there, thinking there's threats at every corner, but she had to work through that anyway as being part of the third promise under the Dawn servant. I don't know about this. I don't know about the whole keeping secrets nonsense. And of course, someone is going to exploit that secret. The past has rendered me emotional. I require a moment to compose myself, but please, do not keep the third promise waiting. So far, so good. The drip is fairly interesting, if I say so myself. God, that's crazy! Also, hang on a second. 270 from the south, so it's somewhere nearby. I wonder where it is from here. pressing the wrong button. Southwest. So, down here-ish? I don't yet see... Ah, there it is! I see it. I see it. But yeah, can we get it? If there's a moderator in my channel, can we get like a shout out for unnamed, please? There we go. And then 390 to the south, so it's probably like further down that way. We'll probably like go down this direction as part of the MSQ at some point shortly anyway. Like, we've got like all... Actually, we actually have all that as well that I need to check out. Monitor sleep? Okay. Cheepy cheepy choppa choppa cheepy cheepy choppa choppa ju da 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 voo voo voo. Just have to do it manually. There we go. I wonder, is there a... I bet you there's something there. There is something there on, like, the offshoot. Piss me... Old man pissing me off at work, BRB. Don't punch him! Jack, don't punch him! Don't punch them! Do not punch the old man! They might get a heart attack and you'll get trialed for murder. No, don't lightly push them. Unnamed, you give terrible advice. Do not push him. Alrighty, it's gonna be somewhere around here. 290 to the east. Oh my god. Oh, it's a lot further. Okay, so it's not here. You did say not to punch them, so kicking is fine. No! Oh my god, why must I have such violent chatters? Oh. Oh, he's doing sexist bullshit. Okay. It's at this point you do ageist bullshit at them. But you have to do it politely. Yeah, it has to be polite ageism stuff, such as I thank you for your concerns, but I wouldn't want you to get an injury at your late age. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You turn it around on them. You make it sound like as if, oh, you took it as a concern, but you would rather, you know, them not, you know, keel over or anything like that. Take the burrito and have a Dorito in this trying time. Look at this outfit. I don't know how I feel about the boots also being red, but all I need to do is see what the arms look like, and we'll see what the cobalt attire is. And I'll maybe swap my warrior over to that attire as well. Hello. Oh my god, he's got like a tiny little thing following them. That's kind of funny. I bet they're really confused is why I just, like, selected their, avatar then. Oop, it looks like there's going to be, like, some sort of thingy-majiggy going off here. Upon speaking with Wuklamot, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these cutscenes in their entirety. I run with any pronouns and I kind of disconnect with being labeled female, but I can't really stop those strangers from doing that. Fair enough. So, you're back! So, what did Hanmu Ruk want? Secret! That is very sus secret keeping, but sure, hopefully she's not going to be annoyed. Heh, it's alright. You don't have to say. More importantly, the Tinabek Traverse still isn't clear yet. Something about even more rocks. Then I think I'll take the opportunity to rest. All that cooking and preparing for it has me worn out. I'm gonna go get myself some Pringles as a snack. I'll be right back, chat. I'm gonna get some... Actually, I wonder, if I run a 30-second advertisement, is that gonna delay the stream thingy-madiggies? Actually, I'm gonna run an advertisement for 1 minute. I'm gonna see if 1 minute will do the commercial. We're gonna do a 60-second commercial. Alrighty, and then because I am here, ding dong, send signal. There we go. So then that way you at least get the, how's that? Does that work? Hopefully that works. How does that look? Does that look good? Hopefully that was good. Alright. A nap does sound tempting. A moment, promise. The fuck do you want? You're one of Bakul Jaja's. What do you want? I've come to fetch you. You're welcome to refuse, but know that it would be most unwise. And why is that? I'm sure your salted friend has an idea. What do you think? We're not going alone. And they say house cats don't come when called. Follow me, promise? Pringles ASMR, get ready.
What is the meaning of this? And just how far do you plan on taking us?
There's the two-headed again. Oh boy.
Oh, Morok! Bakul Jaja, you snake! If you want my keystone so badly, you'll deal with me and me alone. Leave the Elector out of this.
Is that all you think he is? Foolish kitty! This man is the reason we are here. Take a good look at him. Go on. Look. Surely you recognize your real father.
Don't believe us? Then ask your trusted Sellsworth. He heard it straight from the old man's mouth.
Is it true? Is Humuruk my...
Yes. At least I think so.
Your silence says it all.
Now that you understand the situation, let's see those keystones. I'll even let you fight for them. Just you and me.
Bull fucking shit.
Adventure attempts to interfere. I'll kill the old man myself!
I want Adam. Let me fight in your place.
You despicable, heartless fiend! Kinsman or no, I won't stand for you taking hostages! Come on then! You wanna fight? I'll give you a fight!
Oh, such heroic caterwauling promise. I'm shaking. Guard our hostage well. We wouldn't want to attempt any thoughts of rescue.
They consider each other brothers, so I think the way Bakul Jaja is referred, I think their pronouns are he, him.
They've been instructed to put down Papa dearest when you lose. Hopefully he settled his affairs.
Better settle your affairs.
Don't worry. I'm not losing to the likes of him.
Well, okay. Just, you know, don't die.
Well, what are you waiting for, you blessed bastards? It's 2 against 1. Don't tell me.
Bakul Jaja's pronouns, because of 2 heads, is he.
No, I didn't hear you right.
I thought that was an appropriate joke. Don't worry, the scary adventurer won't try anything funny.
Foreign scum! Who are you to mock me?
The warrior of light.
I'll kill you, kill you, kill you all! Don't look away, Salt. I want you to watch as I tear your beloved promise to shreds!
Alright. How are you gonna do this?
Hey, eyes on me. The house cat, remember? I'll say it again. I'm not losing to the likes of you. I'm going to become Dawn's servant, and I will protect my people!
Oh, please tell me we get to fight as Wook Lamont. In this battle, you will play as Wook Lamont. Though skillful combat, Wook Lamont will gain the resolve she needs to unleash powerful limit breaks. Not only do these attacks deal great damage, they will recover HP. Use them early and often to emerge victorious. That's fucking cool! Hell yeah. Oh, I love how it's like...
Come, you make.
Oh, and they give me like the fucking...
So I can rip you to pieces! I'll cut you to shreds!
Nice.
My magic should be more than enough for Miss Mittens.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
I'll make you eat dirt!
Where is my combo to restore HP? There we go.
No more tricks, Bakul Chaja! We're settling this here and now!
Oh,
Still playing the part of the brave warrior?
Miss Mittens is no longer abusing me, brother.
This rite has taught me so much!
Yeah!
About my nation, my people, and myself!
Oh shit.
Can't keep up!
How do you like this? Kitty, 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 kitty.
Understand what it means to live in peace. To greet each day in safety and happiness.
This is so awesome.
Take the past.
It's time we finished her, brother.
This is the end for you, kitten. Know your place.
Not enough.
No! God damn it. Let me try that again. Let me try that again. Let me try that again. I fucked up early on, so I got like a lot of damage. No! Let me try again. Let me try again. Cause he had like the roar and shit, so. Ah, Jack, no! Maybe the roar makes it so that, like, you know, I might be like needing to be like really far away.
Come, you mangy housecut, so I can rip you to pieces.
Alright, so he's roaring right now. Nope, I still get hit.
I'll cut you to shreds!
I just have to do... 70.
My magic should be more than enough for Miss Middens.
I'll make you eat dirt!
Well, so it's almost across the field.
No more tricks, Bakul Chaja. We're settling this here and now.
Still playing the part of the brave warrior?
Miss Middens is no longer abusing me, brother.
This rite has taught me so much. About my nation, my people, and myself.
What? Can't keep up?
I wonder if I would have a better time. The wall bleed is a killer. Ah, okay.
How do you like this? Kitty, 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 kitty.
I finally understand what it means to live in peace. To greet each day in safety and happiness.
Irritating pest!
It's time we finished her, brother.
I just
This
wish
is
as
the
a
end
tank
for you,
she had, you know, I just wish as a tank she had the regular, or, you know, here's a thing to, like, reduce the damage.
Know your place!
Oh, that was perfect!
Not enough to claim the title of Dawn's servant. I must carry on Papa's legacy, his love for our people.
I'll grind you beneath my heel!
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I didn't make it that time, but I didn't have like a good way of... I should have been like more on the edge and then made a sprint for one that could like save me.
What? Can't keep up? You die!
And of course he had to do it when I was in like my
Fine.
Oh, god damn it.
True power of the blessed.
Shit. Oh, here we go. 13, 12, 11.
I will be the next dawn servant, and I'll protect my people's happiness to the last!
Oh, that was cool. I like how her, like, our things are squares. They're not, like, just crabs.
Of you! Yes. What? But that was everything I had! I can't stand it anymore! Attack!
There we go. AoE time.
This is our fight! Stay out of it! You bring shame upon us!
You think we care about your stupid pride? This is for Mamuk! We cannot lose!
Oh, the great Bakul Jaja needs help, I see. Send your whole army. You still won't win. I will prove that my allies are right to believe in me.
Such confidence! Changed! She wasn't like this before!
Get absolutely fucking decimated! Woo! Yeah! Let's go! Yes! Cookie for Jack! Here's your cookie, Jack. Hopefully you enjoy your cookie. Cookie for Jack. And what do you know? I will take that back. Thank you very much. Ooh, piece of candy.
I reclaim what you stole.
No. How can this be? How could that puny house cat beat all of us?
You've caused nothing but trouble with your dirty tricks. Threatening the Hanuhanu, releasing Valiarmanda, harassing me is one thing, but you've endangered too many innocents. No more, Bakul Jaja. I will not stand for it. If you even think of tormenting my people again, you will answer to me.
No. No.
What's with the pots?
And he goes and forgets he had the way blocked.
What? That was his doing?
The only part left in the saga is the Lay of the Brotherhood in Mamuk. The The plan was to force you here so we could take the rest of your keystones.
So that's what he was up to. But, should you be telling us this?
I'm guessing they don't follow him anymore.
What does it matter? You've beaten us. It's over. We'll release the hostage.
Thank you for not hurting him any further.
I'm sorry. I was careless.
Are you all right? So what Bakul Jaja said about you and me.
But to single-handedly defeat Bakul Jaja, you truly are the Dawn Servant's daughter.
It has been my honor to bear witness to your journey. Promise.
Promise. Yes. That's what I am. I'm Kulul Jaja's daughter, and Tuli Hyolal's next Dawn servant. Come on. Let's rejoin the others.
Sounds good to me. Seems we were last to return. I'm glad everyone made it back safely. Thank you for having faith in me. Keeping out of the fight even when it got dirty could have been easy for you. But Bakul Jaja wouldn't be the last person to threaten those I care about. I wanted to prove to myself that I can stand up to those villains, even when I stand alone. Which isn't to say I wouldn't ask for your help when I need it, of course. I know better than that now. Yay!
My day be so fine, then boom. Morning.
My day do be so fine. Earlier in the Second Promises camp. Excuse me. They're just sitting there, just being like, yes.
The passage to Mamuk remains blocked. For now, all we can do is try to rest and recover. Perhaps with a meal, as my sister would no doubt suggest. Shall we borrow the kitchens and prepare some Shibruk Pibil?
Yeah, I reckon that'd be good.
So thou hast taken a liking to the dish.
Well, of course, it's delicious.
As we learn to appreciate the unfamiliar, 'tis only natural that we develop new affinities. There is no shame in this.
But there is in ignorance. I had barely considered what the people of Tuli Yolal hold dear. What hopes they harbor for the future. Our nation is built upon the bonds that Father forged during his journey across Tural.
Wild
But so single-minded have I been in my advocacy of foreign innovations
it expands and the
that I fail to understand my own people.
Weird.
Could someone who struggles to connect with the populace ever make a worthy Dawn servant?
Of course. You need only try. You do what you can.
To understand and connect with people is by no means easy. But there is something you can do to pave the way. Let them see you for who you really are. What makes you laugh and cry and rage. That sort of honesty is the first step towards mutual understanding and connection.
Understanding begets fellowship, as my father said.
It's a good line.
And yet, what you suggest does not come naturally to me.
Not without practice.
I, too, have found it difficult to speak from the heart. In thy struggles, I see mine own, painful in their familiarity. Yet frightening though it may feel, if we are to move forward, we must indeed take that first step. Dispense with pretense, and simply be.
Do you remember when you first approached us, and we asked you why you wanted to become Dawn Servant? You said you wished to use the knowledge you acquired in Sharlayan for your country, and in doing so repay your father for the opportunities he afforded you. What won me over was not your ambition, but your motivation. So let your people know this, and in time, they'll come to support you as we do.
Hi, Augusto.
You can't hide behind that stoicism forever.
Very well then. I will make a greater effort to be myself. By not being my usual self so much.
Sounds like a plan. Yay! We were able to get cutscenes done before the next advertisement went off. So, what's the state of Tinnabeck Traverse? Still being cleared, I'd assume. Hunmu Rook said he would notify us as soon as work was done. That perhaps now would be a good time to consider how we might reclaim Wuklamut's stolen keystone. The next feat will be our last, after all. And she already got it back! Let's go! Dun, 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 dun. What? When? Not to mention how. This is Bakul Jaja we're talking about. And she now explains the story how she kicked his ass. Dun, dun. So I taught him a lesson and took my keystones back. You bested Bakul Jaja in single combat? Bravo. Heh, what can I say? I've had good friends to encourage and cheer me on. There you are. Our excavators have contacted me with news of their success. The Tinnaberg Traverse is now safe for travel. Then we may finally can make for Bakul. Come to think of it, isn't Bakul Jaja home? Isn't it Bakul Jaja's home? We can only hope its residents don't share his winning personality. If it is indeed the city where Ketan Ram first met the Dawn Servant, surely some civility awaits us. I would not be so certain. It is true that the Dawn Servant received Ketan Ram in Mamuk, and was instrumental in the establishment of friendly relations between the Zabral and Mamujul. But since that time, most of the Mamujul who supported his peace have left their city in favor of aiding in the capital. What remains is a cloister of Mamuk, and while those traditionalists do not take up arms against us, neither do they bear great love for outsiders. whatever they like. The people of Mamuka are also of Tuliol. If I'm to be Dawn's servant, it's my job to know them first of all. Well, we'll be on our way then. I'm glad I can learn about where I came from and eat so much Zebruk Bikule. Thank you for everything. Till next time, take care. Yay, it's only a 2-minute advertisement because I ran a 1-minute advertisement earlier. Dun, 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 dun. First, we make our way across the Zorbrit Cinderfield, due east. Woo! How you have grown indeed! Yay, and we get ourselves some blue tick quests that we can also complete while here. I think they're actually worth... I'll pick them up at the very least. So, seems to be taking your measures from afar and appears pleased with what he sees. Hello there, Grant! You don't know me, but I've seen you keeping company with a third promise. I've been wanting to speak with you if you have a moment. The name's Tiat Ro, and I'm a hunter here. Well, almost a hunter. I have needed of a strong arm to accompany me on my next foray, and I'd be honored if it belonged to one of Wuklamut's mighty companions. I know you must be a busy man, but everyone else has their own duties to attend to, and our village has a rule that none can hunt alone. I'd be forever grateful if you joined me. Just tell me what it is that you want me to kill. Thank you, thank you! I need to take every chance I have to gain experience if I want to be accepted by the more senior hunters, and working with you is sure to be enlightening. Great, then, let's be off. The hunting grounds are to the north. See you there, Grant! So peaceful. Oh, actually, that reminds me, I also need to check out my gloves. Bad. Alright, now I need to take a look at my portraits, wherever they are. There they are. Edit. Save. There we go. I have all these, like, pugilist things, but they're not doing anything right now. Ah, we're gonna be hunting Sabertooth, or Rax. Our quarry is Tia Tia. They're quick and clever, a challenge for any hunter, but their meat is tasty enough to make all the trouble worth it. They're partial to tree sap, so they're often up among the branches, nibbling away. If we wait at the base of the tree covered in the stuff, they'll probably come down to defend their score. Of course, they aren't the only animals roaming the wilds. The stealthy Vostaral Brox have made meals of more than one innocent soul, so keep an eye out, eh? Sounds good to me. Anyway, Augusto, I'm having a wonderful time. I have made some pretty decent progress in the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV. I am on my way to, like, another part of the... I'm at, like, the last... I'm coming up towards the last trial of, like, the Dawn Servant thing that they've got going. So I gotta do the Mamuls thing, but right now I'm just distracting myself with like a blue checkmark quest just to get comfortable with the new keybinds that I've set up for stuff like my paladin here. For instance, I need to get away from pressing 4 for my, like, you know, throwing things at people, and instead use my 5 key. Oh yeah, because I've got the thing. I've turned on the thingy-majiggy, so then that way the clemency was free. And then this gives me the blade of truth. There we go. Just so then that way I wasn't holding on to it. Nice. So yeah, the only thing I'm missing is like the headpiece for my character, but the fact of the matter is that many times the headpieces do not pop up on the Viera, so it's like barely worth. Except for the stats, of course. You made it! I've only just returned myself, and I'm eager to compare catches. I do not care. Sorry, it's a blue tick, it's nice. You have, like, other quests associated with you, but I will do that in my own personal time. Thank you very much. Alright, another one is up here, the Secrets of the Cinder Field. So what's just popped up on my thing? What in the world is... Got some... Let's have a look. Unsure about what kind of bottom wear, but think a puffy purple sweater vest would look good. Shows off your pecs and arms, then mix some yellow, black, or whites for undershirt or pants. Interesting ensemble. I will take that under advisement. I have posted a tweet, like, a while ago. I've asked from Fashion Furs of, like, alright, how do I look drippy? How do I get, like, you know, an increased charisma stat with my attire? Because... as you are no doubt aware, most of my attire is just jeans and whatever t-shirt. I need to have, like, more commissioned work with me in other attires. Something like, you know, so then that way I can, like, demonstrate, like, you don't have to put me in, like, restrictive jeans and whatever t-shirt that doesn't even, like, tuck into my jeans or what have you. I need new drip. But it's really difficult because of my, you know, my crunk shape. My Dorito. Yay, a tiny little bit. Can I talk to you from here? Yep, I can talk to you from there. Oh. Ho there, friend! I require someone with a stealthy thread to help me shed light on a little mystery. Recently, I've observed one of my older residents coming and going from the cinder pit. Quite unusual. Cool. Awesome. So, we're tailing some of the cinder pits. You're shit with fashion. Go, man. That's why the tweet has asked for Fashion Furs. You know, the peeps that, you know, do the drip for, like, you know, Kusaki and Gucci Feline, you know, or like, I'm trying to think of some other Australian furs that have done, like, drippy attire. Maybe Mixie? I don't know. Furries and drip, it doesn't often go hand in hand, so it's a bit of an interesting, like, conundrum of, like, how do you engage furries in dressing up more than just, you know, their most common attire? Okay, here's what's gonna happen. Motorcycle. That way I can move just a little bit faster. Waiting around, waiting around. Skip. I'm sorry, this is not that important of a skip. Follow the elderly from a safe distance. Where is the elderly man? I do not oh, there he is. Alright, here we go. Ooh, that's interesting that they show like a little thingy-majiggy. Yeah, a lovely blue bird. It's just your imagination. Ooh, do not think nothing of it. At some point. And it looks like he's going to want to sprint, so we are going to need to sprint as well. There we go. Duty complete! I know how to do these tests. Alright, no one saw me. I just have to wait until the goods get here. Maybe I'll be home in time for dinner. Sup? What? Did you follow me here? Guess I wasn't as sneaky as I thought, but I'm not doing anything wrong, despite how it looks. I'm trading with Mamuk, all under the blessing of Hunmu Rook. We have to be secretive about it, though. You see, we deliver valuable foodstuffs to Mamuk, meats and vegetables. They're hard to come by in their parts of the woods. In return, we get Jatika bananas. Each party leaves their goods in carts and collects them when the other is out of sight. For a while, after hostilities ceased, trade didn't have to be so cloak and dagger, but many of the Mumulja who are willing to embrace change have left for Tulugol, and those who remain bear old grudges. So, we chose a path of discretion, of course. I don't blame the people of Mamuk. Even in Ik-Baraks, there are those who can't forgive the past. Trading like this appeases both sides, even though our dealings aren't exactly unknown to most. I take it the one who asked you to follow me was young, yes? Too young to know to overlook an old man wandering into these blasted wastes. Any road, it's time I took my goods and returned home. If you could tell that lass you lost sight of me, I'd be grateful. She'll accept the truth more easily if she discovers it for herself. Sounds good. Well, I'm not going to do that. I am going to double check. 223 to the south. Alrighty then, Aaronville. Tell me. The traverse will bring us straight into the Jatika heartland. Remember how you insisted this forest is green? T. Quebec Traverse. So we gotta go through here in order to get to the other side. 149. Okay, so we should see it any moment now. Sup, Krill? This path is quite steep, isn't it? Let us take our time and descend safely. Absolutely fucking not. We are running full tilt. Wait, hang on. Did I honestly see? Where the fuck is it? 226 to the southeast. What the fuck? Where is it? To the south. Okay, it must be in this cave. It's your favorite map time? We're doing traversal shit. Hi there, Sash. Welcome to the stream. You missed out on me playing as Wook Lamont, and we beat Bakul Jaw's ass. We won. We got our crystal back, and we enjoyed some lovely soft tacos. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? I spoke with one of the excavators on my way down. Apparently, Bakul Jaja cleared away the one fallen tree remaining by barreling through it. That Wook Lamont single-handedly defeated someone possessed of such physical might is nothing short of remarkable. Still, we ought to proceed with caution. There's no telling what his wounded pride might compel him to attempt. Implying you weren't lurking. You didn't say anything when I called out to you! You didn't say anything during Cat Team! You said nothing! You said nothing at all! I feel so betrayed. Oh, the betrayal. No comment on the Cat Team. Sup, Alize? How's it going, Alize? Aaronville said this traverse was dug to facilitate incursions into the forest above. Intentions notwithstanding, you have to admire the dedication. Here's the thing. Like... Oh, okay, so I just need to go to the Blue Eyes abode, I reckon, and then I'll be able to get to the thingy-majiggy I need. And there isn't anything in here, is there? Hard lurking. Oh! 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 Sorry, it just popped into my head of just like the and then just like seconds later, oh! It was in my head. I'm sorry. But yeah, hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. I will not be playing through this all day because I have a movie night to join up with some friends for, and we're gonna watch Alien Romulus, and then we're gonna have dinner afterwards. And depending on how everyone feels, we're gonna go for Wolverine, Deadpool, and Wolverine later. Alluring, isn't it? In more ways than one. Take my paring stone and hold it close to the glowing rock. Okay. A tool used by gleaners to identify certain geological properties. Okay. As you hold the paring stone to the soft glow, it affixes itself to the boulder with surprising force. Paring stones are natural magnets, and that's a meteorite filled with iron, one of many remnants of an ancient meteor shower. The heterogeneous aether they emit causes surrounding flora to grow unique hues, as you can see. That was a mouthful trying to hear. bird landed on my shoulder. So, these glowing boulders came pummeling down from the heavens? Vidrol, be merciful. There you are. I'm betting she's gonna, like, find the 3-leaf clover thingy-majiggy. Jesus Christ! Blue! It's all blue! A far cry from the upper forest, indeed. This place is already so fascinating. I'm eager to hear what the people of Mamuk can tell us about it. Keep running. We're almost there. Yes, we're gonna keep running. Hopefully we'll be done. We'll be done shortly. Macalania Forest? Wait, are you talking about the Ratika Great Woods over in the first shard? Because, like, they have, like, the temples and then, like, the giant, like, canopies. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, Final Fantasy X. Okay. I thought you were talking about, like, I thought you were talking about, like, within Final Fantasy XIV, another region. But, okay. Also, compass, 200 thingamajiggies south. Radio. As this is also my first time visiting Mamuk, I have no experience interacting with the locals. But given Hunmu's Rook's parting words, I would advise a cautionary approach. Alright, let's see. Does the hat have anything good? Does the hat work on the Viera? Let us have a look. Does it work on the Viera? Oh my god, the Viera now has a hat. Look at that. Hat. Hat. Finally. Finally, Mamuk, Wook Lamont is eager to make progress. Well, we all know what comes next. Let's find that elector. 2 streets seem to converge upon this plaza, so I suppose we split our numbers between them. Given Hunmu Rook's guidance, I shall also suggest that we err on the side of caution and move throughout the city in pairs. Aaronville can come with me, and Alizé can go with Krill. That leaves Grant to accompany Wook Lamont. If these arrangements are to everyone's satisfaction, then may our respective searches prove fruitful. Right, let's split up, gang. I would like to hang out with Aaronville. Every opportunity they get, the twins are just like, I want to hang out with Aaronville. Alrighty, I need to head up to the Blue Eyes abode at some point, because I think there's a what's-a-mahoozy thingy-majiggy over there. You know what? Actually, you know what? I'm actually gonna end the stream here. I'm not gonna go any further in Mamul, actually, like MSQ-wise or anything. I'm gonna call it here for today, because I want to, like, get a shower. I want to get something to eat, and I want to, like, you know, get ready for movie night tonight. And because it's my cheat day, I want to enjoy something. So I am going to end the stream here, but rest assured, everyone, it's not going to be a total disappearance. We're going to have a look at who it is that we can go and raid. So, let me just... Alright, let's have a look. Who is online? They always recommend to me Final Fantasy XIV streams when I first click on this thing on Saturdays, because I've been doing nothing else but playing Final Fantasy XIV. Unfortunately, everyone who's playing Final Fantasy XIV besides me is very much just, you know, leagues ahead, and is not, you know, the best idea. Alright, so let's limit it to who I'm following. And let's see. Ooh. So, let's see, there's a goblin playing some things. We got Dirtwolf, we got Outcast Stars, we got Looper Link. Queen! Oh my god, and she's playing Voices of the Void. I have never heard this before. Alright, we're gonna go raid into the Queen Kaiju Pixel. We're gonna raid into this big muscle mommy. She's amazing. Is there a bowing? No, there isn't a... Actually, is there a... Give me a second. Let me see if there's a bowing emote. Bow. Yes, there is. Person bowing. Here we go. We bow to the Muscle Queen. There we go. So that's our raid message. I don't have any custom bowing emotes, so we're just going to go with the classic emoji for bowing. And hopefully I'll have some of you join in with that one. And I thank you so much for coming in. That will be it for today. I will get a schedule out tomorrow of what it is that we're going to be playing and what have you, because as I've got more gifted games to go through, and then there's Yakuza on the Wednesday, as always. Otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to this morning's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and I hopefully will see you all next time. Bye for now.